Okay, so now we're going to look at some more factorizing into double brackets, but this time it's a little bit trickier because you need to be able to navigate your negatives. So a quick reminder before we do that about multiplying with negatives. So when we're multiplying with negatives, we have a positive and we're multiplying, let's write it out. Positive multiplied by a positive, obviously that's the one we know. That's just normal multiplication, that's going to give us a positive. But if we have a positive and a negative multiplied together, we're going to get a negative answer. Okay? Same if they're the other way around. That's just one negative, one positive. Okay? And then the other option is the negative times negative, which is also going to give us a positive. So if I just reorder those, you can see that in the first two, we have positive and positive and negative and negative. So if you have the same sign in your multiplication, you're going to get a positive answer. Okay. If you have different signs in your multiplication, so we have one positive, one negative, either way around, you're going to get, a negative answer. Okay. So that's going to be really useful for us to bear in mind when we're doing this. Now with the MCAT, you're not allowed a calculator, so it's really important that you know these. If you know you need to use one to remind yourselves, you can use it to help you to start with, but you're going to need to come away from using the calculator. So back to the examples. The method is exactly the same as before, okay? We still need to find two numbers, okay? But this time we've got some negatives coming in here. So they need to add to make the number in front of x, so positive 8, and they need to multiply to make the number at the end. But this time it's negative 20. So you need to think a little bit more carefully now about what your two numbers are going to be. Add to make 8, multiply to make negative 20. Now if you look at that, what they need to multiply to make, and go back to what we just wrote, if we're getting a negative answer, so our answer is negative 20, we know that one of our original numbers will be positive and one will be negative. So then we can try and work out what they are. So the two that we're going to have here are positive 10 and negative 2. Okay. 10 plus negative 2 gets us 8. 10 times negative 2 gets us negative 20. Okay. And then our method is just the same. We use those two numbers as the two numbers inside our bracket. Our two brackets. Okay. So we'll go through example 2 together. But if you want to have a go at example 2 before I go through it, pause it now and have a quick go. Otherwise, again, we're going to find those two numbers. This time, they want to add to make negative 3, that number in front of x, and multiply to make negative 10. Okay. So this time again, our multiplication is negative. So we know we're going to have one of each sign here. And this time it's going to be negative 5 and positive 2. Okay. Negative 5 plus 2 gets us a little bit higher to negative 3. Multiply them and we get negative 10. And again, just using those two in our brackets. Doesn't matter which way around they go as long as the sign is in front of the right one. Okay, so now I'd like you to have a go at a few of those. Now they're a bit trickier with the negatives, but it's really important we get a lot of practice in. So I want your work to show just like mine does. Okay, you can come back to these examples as many times as you like. Okay, so the ones I'd like you to have a go at factorizing are there. Just remember, if there's no number in front of the x, that just means it's a 1. So this would be plus 1, and this here would be negative 1. Okay. So give those a go in your books and then come back for the answers. Okay, back for the answers. Your answers should be here. Okay, so you can mark those off and try and understand any little wipeouts that you may have made.